Hey, how's it going, content creators? This is John from the Content Creators Lounge. Hope you're having a great evening or afternoon or morning or whatever it is that you're doing right now in the world. Welcome to our event tonight. It is called How to Create YouTube Annotations to Get More Website Traffic. So just a little quick background about me. My name, again, is John Acosta. For those of you who don't know, I'm the founder of Content Creators Lounge, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But first, let's get right into it. So what are YouTube annotations? This is something we're going to go over. We're going to talk about how they are beneficial, the most beneficial thing, in my opinion, on YouTube in regards to getting website traffic from YouTube, from a video you have on the platform of YouTube, and bringing them over to your website so then they can begin conversing with your information, with your content, and then potentially doing an action such as purchasing something or signing up for your mailing list or whatever. Okay, so we're going to go over what are YouTube annotations, how do they work exactly, and then we're going to go into a real live demo where I'll be taking you into my personal YouTube account and we'll be setting up some annotations on the fly so that you guys can really see in real time how these things are put together. Okay, so first and foremost, what are YouTube annotations? For those of you who don't know, they're basically clickable text overlays on your YouTube videos. Now, they don't come standard, so they're not just there by default, and you probably know that if you have any videos on YouTube. But what you have to do is go into a special menu inside of your YouTube account to set these up. And we're going to go over how to do that just in a few minutes, so stick with me here, guys. So what these things will do is they're going to increase viewers' engagement with your video content. These buttons or these overlays allow people to do things like get more information about whatever it is you're talking about on your video. It also allows them to click on a certain button if you create one using the annotations to get them over to a specific website that you desire, another video that you might desire, or any other bits of content that you might want to take them to. So, viewer engagement is the biggest thing and the most incredible thing that YouTube annotations do. And there's a lot of really creative ways to work with them. And I have a really special treat for you guys. I'm going to show you a couple of samples, actually, that I love how they've used these annotations and they've taken them to the next level. Just super creative thinking and super creative branding that really kind of impacts your brand in a really special way. So, moving on, this also gives viewers more in-depth information, as we said before. So if you are talking about the molecular structure of a tennis ball, for instance, you could put a little description next to whatever it is you have on screen to further the description about the molecular structure of that tennis ball, if that's what you're into. I'm not, but if someone out there is, then that's what you can use annotations for. So moving on. There are 5 types of annotations, and we're going to go over all 5 of them, excuse me, all 5 of them shortly. And just to kind of list them out here, I'm going to go ahead and just go over them quickly so you can kind of have an introduction to them. The first is the speech bubble, and it's this red looking speech bubble, and it says speech bubble. So ultimately, it's just like what the cartoons do. You have a little bubble next to the cartoon character, whoever, and it's supposed to insinuate what they're saying. Next, we have a note, which is basically just a grayed out, by default, grayed out little line, and then you can type in whatever you'd like to on this note. And again, that's really used for descriptions and such if you're trying to put more details about a specific thing on screen. Okay, next we have our titles. Here's the title, as you see. Pretty self-explanatory. And then our spotlight and labels. These are a little complex, so I want to, well, not complex. They're hard to differentiate. So what I want to do is show you an example of the difference between the two and when you would actually use a spotlight versus a label, depending on your content. Okay, so these are the 5 types. Again, speech bubble, notes, titles, spotlight, and labels. Let's talk about labels versus spotlights. Actually, that should, well, so this should actually say spotlight versus labels. I apologize for that, guys, but you get the picture. So ultimately, what we're trying to showcase here is the label versus spotlight. What a label will do on a YouTube annotation is it's going to allow you to label anything on screen, like I've done here. And notice how it says, I'm a label that can't move, which means that I cannot move this text box anywhere but right where it is. Currently, it's at the bottom of this rectangle. Okay, and so a spotlight is kind of cool in that it actually allows you to move this text box. And again, we'll show you this in a few minutes. But it allows you to move this text box away from or as close to and inside the box, the rectangle, as you want. So it's more of a free range way to showcase and label something. And again, that's called the spotlight. And the label has a little bit more of a restrictive movement with the actual text itself. Okay, I hope that makes sense, guys. And again, I apologize for this speech bubble. There should be a speech bubble there. It says, whoops, which I will put in at the replay. All right, so now it's time for a live demo. And I'm just going to get switched over here, guys, so you can see what's going on my screen, and we can go through this together. Okay, so give me just a moment here. Okay, so we currently are looking at, okay, we are looking at my desktop here, or my browser here. And right now we're in YouTube. I have a couple of really cool, well, this one, for instance, really great example of what you can do with YouTube annotations. And this guy, Rob Scallon, props to him. He has done some pretty extravagant stuff with annotations on his channel. And so I'm playing the video here for you guys to see. I've muted the audio so we don't have to hear it, because what I really want to showcase isn't the content, but more importantly, the annotations around the content. So what he's done ultimately is, at one point in the video, he just opens up, he has an empty room, and what he's done is he's placed annotations throughout the room here so that we can click on any single instrument that we want to. And what Rob will do when you click on this particular instrument is it'll take you to a new video, and Rob will go into detail about said instrument. So I just clicked on the bass here, and now he's going to talk about that bass that we just clicked on. Pretty cool, right? And so you can imagine that if we watch this all the way through, and we're really, we're musicians and we really love guitars and drums and so forth, what I would imagine is I watch this video, I learn a few things, and then suddenly I can click here. Again, this is another annotation he's created, and he's allowing us to go back to the studio, to that initial video. Oh, and okay, there are a couple things in here too that I want to point out, and one of them is this ad here. And again, guys, if you stick with me, I'm going to go through a couple of do's and don'ts when it comes to the annotations, this being one of those things, ads, but we'll get into that in a second. But yeah, ultimately, we're back to his studio, and now we can click again wherever we want to within the video. Super cool. So props, Rob, to you for putting that together. If you're watching, man, this is a great channel, and if you're a musician out there, definitely subscribe to his channel. All right, guys, so moving on, I wanted to show you a quick inside to my personal channel and kind of play with some of the videos I have on my channel so that we can really get an idea of how we could benefit in real time and in a real life situation using annotations. So before I go into this, I'm actually going to just go to youtube.com. I'm going to show you how to set up annotations to begin with. Because if you just opened up your YouTube channel, or you're somebody who doesn't use YouTube very often and you're just getting into it, you do have to do a little bit of setup, and we're going to go through that right now to show you how it's done. So the first thing you want to do is log into youtube.com. Make sure you're logged in the top right. And if you are, you'll want to click on your little face or icon, logo, whatever, and you'll click, once you've opened your icon there, create studio right here. And this is the YouTube Creator Studio, ultimately. What this allows us to do is measure and look at, engage, and move our account into all sorts of really great stuff. So for me, what I want to do first, and let's pretend like I'm you, and I haven't set this up yet, I'm going to want to go to my channel section. Okay. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I have to go in and physically turn on the monetization, or I'm sorry, annotation options. And monetization is something completely different, which we'll talk about in another video. So as I go in here, I have the option, as you see, to turn on a range of things. And what I want to do is I want to just click on, or I would click on external annotations. And the reason why I want to enable this is because this is this is the switch. This is the option that is going to allow us to link our YouTube videos to our websites. Okay, and again, this is the reason why you're watching this today, because we want to learn how to engage both of them, to connect the YouTube account to the website so we can get people from this platform to yours. Okay, now this is step one. Turn on the annotations and then the external annotations in general so that we can connect everything. But the second step is we actually have to connect our website, our physical website, our .coms or .nets, to our YouTube account. And more so, we actually have to connect it to Google in general. And if you haven't done this yet, this is actually a whole nother topic for a whole nother video, but I just really quickly want to show you how it's done, because if you don't have it set up yet, it can be done in about 5 minutes, and here's how it's done. So what we'll do, we'll just come right back to this. What we'll do is we'll open up a new tab, and we're going to go to webmasters.google.com. Sorry, webmaster.google.com. Webmaster, the Webmaster tools from Google, just real quick, are a really great array of tools that allow us to connect our websites to Google, so that Google can then send out its little robots and its spiders and crawl our site and then rank it inside the Google platform. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about this, but ultimately this is going to be, well, actually it should be your step one, but if it isn't before you turn this on, you'll want to do that as your step two, because A, you should be doing this in general, otherwise you're not going to be ranking in Google. And B, that's the only way to actually connect YouTube to your Google account and then to your website. Okay, so let's pretend we've turned on the annotations and the external annotations so we can connect our website. And we've also gone to webmaster.google.com to connect our website to Google. This allows us, this tells YouTube, hey, I have a website, it's connected to my Google account, which is connected to my YouTube account, so therefore you guys can all talk to each other, and now I can link my videos to my website. Pretty sweet, right? Okay, now that all that's over and done with, let's talk about actually getting the annotations put together. So I'm gonna go up here to my video manager. And by the way, if you've already done all that, then just go to your Creator Studio and open up your video manager. And then what we're going to do is we're going to sift through our video content here. I have 161 videos on my channel currently, and I want to go to a video that I know might need some annotations. Okay, and the reason why, I guess you have to have an objective for this. The reason why I want to add my annotation is so that I can send people from my video to learn more about me and learn more about the services that I offer or the Content Creators Lounge offers. Okay, so I want to get people to my website. So what I want to do, I have a perfect video that I actually want to work with, and I've already found it. So I'm going to go over here to work with it. Actually, I'll just type in growth strategy. Okay, so I'm searching my videos, and I see that I have multiple videos here. This is the one I want to work with right here. Now I can click on this, and what will happen is I'll go right to the video, or a quick little shortcut, which if you're doing a lot of annotation, this will be a godsend. Just hit the edit button, and it saves you a whole step. And what it will do is let you go into your actual back end, the behind the scenes of your video, where you set up your basic information and so forth. And you'll want to go into the top right here, click on annotations, and boom, we are now in our annotations for this video. Now what's going to happen is the video is going to start playing automatically. I'm going to pause it and rewind. And it's loading as well. It's going to play in low resolution, which is fine. You don't need, well, it should be at least, you don't need high resolution to work on your annotations. Now, just to kind of break down again what the annotations are, they're basically an extra layer on top of your already created video on YouTube. Okay, so these aren't going to be embedded or baked into your YouTube video. And in fact, the YouTube annotations aren't visible on all platforms just yet. And I will talk about which ones are and are not available in just a few minutes. So just to get to the point though, what I want to do is take this video that you see here where I am basically speaking to an audience. I did a public speaking event recently, and I'm going to skim through, and basically what I'm doing here is I'm talking about how to increase your web traffic on YouTube. Great. Very, very simple stuff. A couple of tips about descriptions and so forth, some stuff we talked about a couple of weeks ago. But what I want to do is one of two things. The first thing is I want to actually create a box around my website, my domain here. See how it says jonathanacosta.com? I want to make that an actionable step. So when somebody sees that, they don't have to go, oh, I wonder what he's all about, and then have to go physically type this into their web browser. I want to just have a button there so that I can put my mouse over it and they can click on it automatically. Okay, and secondly, if I skim through this video and I get to the very end, you'll see I've created call to action card at the end, and this is basically like a slate that has all my information for people to, to contact me, just like a 1-800 number. But what I want to do is make these actionable, right? So unlike an infomercial where you see the 1-800 call now, you can literally put an annotation that says, hey, did you like what you saw? Would you like to learn more? Click here, and then they can physically click here. All right. So here, those are the two things we want to do, and I've actually already set them up. So I'm going to delete them, and I'm going to start from scratch. Okay. So let's pretend we've never touched this video before. And again, the first step is I want to make this an actionable button. So what I'll do is come over to the right here, and I'm going to open up our add annotation. And in your opinion, which one do you think you would actually go with? And yeah, I'm going to go with the spotlight, if that's what you said. Some people like the label as well, but since the label's already there, it already says jonathanacosta.com, I'm just going to use the spotlight to, well, spotlight what I'm trying to showcase. All right. And people use these in all different ways, as you saw earlier. Me personally, I'm just going to take this box, move it around with my mouse, and then grab the corners and shape it however I'd like to. And it doesn't have to be perfect, of course. Okay, so that's about right. Now notice how this box, the box that we talked about earlier, is just lingering, just hanging out. And again, this is the title box. And the benefit of using a spotlight annotation is that I can move it wherever I want to, and then I can go over to the right and type in whatever I want. I can extend it to make more room, or I can squish it to make it really small. Now, on the right in the annotations, I also have the ability to make the font size bigger so that people can actually read that, because it is kind of small. I have the ability to change its color, the color of the font at least. So I'm changing that to that. And because it's the size 28, notice how it's cutting itself off now. It says type in whatever I want in the box here, but on the left, it's actually, it's kind of disappeared. And that's a big common error that a lot of people make. You need to be able to expand the box as big as the text needs. Otherwise, it will sometimes cut itself out if you continue typing information in here. Okay, so always make sure that you size it appropriately. I'm going to bring this back down to 11. And you know what, guys? I'm just going to go a little unorthodox and say I don't even want anything in this box. Again, the text already exists. I already put it in when I edited this video together. So I'm going to delete the text altogether. And that's perfectly fine. YouTube does not ding you for that or anything. It just doesn't show anything up in the box. So what I'll do is just lay it on top of the other box. And no problem, no harm, no foul. Cool. All right, and notice too how when I placed this, I actually was watching the video and then I paused it and then I went up to add annotation. And what that did is whenever I clicked the annotate option, it set that marker down here on the bottom of my video. For those of you who are video editors, which I'm assuming most of you guys are, you know this is basically your timeline. So this from 0 to 2 minutes, which is how long this video is. This is the time span of the video. And I have the ability to put annotations throughout the time of this video. And I'm also able to, with my mouse, go to the very edge of each annotation until it turns into an arrow, click and expand. Brilliant, right? And then I can click play and I will see, physically, I will see that annotation just sitting right there. Cool. All right. So we've already gone over the spotlight. We've gone over text, which is optional, the sizing of and the color of the font, if you decide to use that. And then something that's kind of neat too is, well, this is the color of the box, the color of the layout. So notice how when I put my mouse over it, this thing lights up purple. It's because I made it so that it's a purple outline. And that just kind of helps pinpoint and showcase the annotation to your viewers when they're watching your video. And lastly, what I want to point out, at least, aside from the start-stop, is the link button here. This is the gold. This is your moneymaker right here. This is what's going to basically take people, when they click on this, to whatever site that you want. Okay, and in your case, it would be your website that we connected earlier. Now, here's the thing. It doesn't just include websites. You're actually able to do a variety of different connections. All right, YouTube does have limitations. Like I can't connect this video to apple.com. I can't make this thing go to any website like Apple or Mashable or CNN.com. I have to have the authority and the rights, the ownership of that website in order to do that. And we talked about that ownership a little bit earlier by using the webmaster tools. Okay, so what I can do though is connect it to any sort of associated website that I want. I can connect it to any video, any playlist, any channel on YouTube, any my Google profile, and I actually don't know if it's anybody's, just anybody's. No, it's just mine. So there, that answers that. And then you can also do a subscription or a subscribe button. This is really great because I'm sure you've seen videos on YouTube where they say, hey, did you like that information? Great. Make sure to subscribe. And then they'll have a button or, an annotation sitting on the screen. That's how they do it. They choose the subscribe. And from there, I can type in my YouTube address right here. So it would be the John Acosta. that will instantly link this annotation to my account. So what will happen is it'll either open up on the same window, or I can open it up in a new window or tab, and you'll see my channel where you can then subscribe. And that's one option. But for me, I want to take people to jonathanacosta.com. And that, if I preview the link, will not. Okay, we're disproven theories here. We need to put in the HTTP:/. Yep, that's why. Then I can click and go directly to that site, which routes you to the Creators Lounge. Okay, cool. So now we know, don't forget the www.http:// and then also you can only connect to your Google profile. It can't connect to other people's Google profiles for whatever reason. Okay, guys, subscribe, spotlight, and then as you can imagine, label is the same thing. Only in this case, if I didn't have jonathanacosta.com down there and I wanted to label something out, I would use the label instead. I would type in what I want here, and the cool thing is you don't see that stuff until you don't see that text until the viewer scrolls over the box. It's kind of a hidden little gem. Kind of neat. So and this is actually a good segue into the next piece. What I want to do now is I want to go to the very end of my video where I have my slate card, where I have my information to go to, another website and contact me and so forth. And I want to basically outline, become a video producer here. To learn to make more videos for your business, becomeavideoproducer.com. I want to highlight that, right? And notice too, I'm having some sort of issues here because the screen changed. I've still got the layout of this annotation here. Boom. But it's not needed here anymore. So here's where I would start defining, or I guess refining my annotations. I'm going to go down to the bottom here, and this little magnifying glass will let us zoom in, scroll with your mouse to the right, and then basically take it or shrink the box as far or as close as you need to for the next screen to happen. So again, as editors, I probably don't need to explain this to you guys. You know how to do this. But just for those of you who don't know how, this is how it's done. You come through and you actually scrub the video until you see the screen change. And it's actually almost perfect. I just scribble a little bit more. Boom. Okay, so what happens at that point is the annotation is going to disappear. If you just look right here, it'll disappear as the screen changes. Perfect. And what I would do at this point is I would, again, move my marker to where the screen changed, and then I would open up my annotations on the right, and I'd go to, let's go to label this time, and let's label this box by highlighting it first, go to the label on the right, and say, click here to go now. Okay. So now when I scroll my mouse over, boom, click here to go now. Perfect. And now from here, something that's kind of neat, again, something that wasn't included in the spotlight option is the ability to set the impact, which essentially makes it bevels the actual box. It bevels the annotation and it gives it a shadow, so it pops out almost like it's a button that's popping out of the screen. I actually like this a lot, and if you go through my videos at all, or if you've ever seen some of them, you'll notice that I use these quite a bit. It really does pop, especially when you use a different color for the backdrop. Let's say something that's really called actiony, something red. Boom, that really kind of pops and says, hey, you need to click on me because I'm important. And then I would also make the text white, so it really just comes out, see? And of course, I'd probably capitalize this if I were being serious. I'd probably make the text a little bit bigger, and so forth and so on. Okay, so you guys can refine this however you'd like to, but the basic bottom line here is that I want to make this button here because I want to link that text in real time to a website of my choosing. Right, and so I'm going to link this one to contentcreatorslounge.com. Perfect. All right, now notice, guys, too, while you're working on your annotations and while you're doing this throughout your videos, you'll want to, well, by default, Google is going to be saving your changes every, I think, 20 seconds or so, which is great. However, these actually won't show up unless you do the last option, which is to publish, okay? Don't forget to publish your annotations. If you just leave the screen, they will not save, and then you'll be wasting a lot of time. I know this because I've done it before. I've spent 30 minutes on annotations, and they've disappeared because I forgot to hit that publish button in the corner. So don't be that guy. Okay, so any questions thus far, guys, about annotations or about how they're used and why they're used? Anybody out there have one? Okay, cool. Doesn't look like we have any questions yet. Awesome. So let's move forward then, guys. A little bit of knowledge about annotations actually goes a long way. There are do's and don'ts about these things, and although they're awesome, they can also be terribly used, and you probably know and probably have seen them terribly used before. So I'm going to go through a couple of my bullet points that I think are extremely important to avoid so you do not annoy your audience. You're trying to engage them. You're not trying to scare them off, right? Okay, so the first one is, and I'm going to rewind and kind of show you, this whole demonstration I showed you earlier where I had JonathanAcosta.com down here at the bottom, that was a terrible mistake on my part. And in fact, it wasn't until after this video was created and then about a week after it was released and out that I realized and that my team realized, we shouldn't have put that text there. And here's the reason why. When you're watching a video on YouTube, a lot of times the viewer, or sorry, the person that creates the video has ads turned on, right? And in our case, we also have ads turned on. And so what this does is, if you've ever seen the ad pop up here in the bottom, is it's going to blockade that entire annotation or that entire text. And what will happen here is that the viewer won't ever see it, because more than likely, and 9 times out of 10, the actual viewer is not going to close this little box at the bottom. I don't know about you, but I always close those boxes when they pop up, but some people don't. And because of that, you're wasting really great real estate and really great opportunities down here because you put your annotation right in front of the advertisement. So don't ever, and just a general rule of thumb, don't ever put your stuff below this line here, essentially. If you break down your screen into 4 rectangles from bottom up, you never want to go down to the last fourth right here. And just imagine this right here, because that, again, is an ad. It's ad space, and whether you have ads on or not is irrelevant, because YouTube will sometimes place them on there anyway. So you want to be able to be optimal. Okay, so here's the rule. I should have put my text up here, up top, or maybe created a little square or rectangle that had like click here to learn more, you know, something kind of flashy and nice in my editing, my initial editing. Because this text you see here, again, wasn't added on in my annotations or with annotations. It was added when I exported it from a video editor. So again, don't ever put video overlays or annotations at the bottom. Always keep them above the top here. Okay, and likewise, a little known one, don't ever put them at the very top either. Now, I used to do this myself. I used to actually take my annotations and place them in the top right corner or the top left corner. And the reason why is because I felt, oh, this is completely out of the way. And, you know, if I type in, let's grab a note here. I'll take a note and I'll put in subscribe to my channel, because everyone does it, right? But the thing is that if I embed this video onto another channel or onto a website, for instance, what's going to happen is there's going to be a bar up top that will cover that annotation altogether. And what's more annoying is that, I don't know if you've ever been in this situation, but I've been watching a video and then I see this little annotation up top, but I also see the bar at the top that tells me what the video is about. And so I'm trying to click on the annotation, but I can't because the bar is in the way. And so what happens is I end up getting routed to like youtube.com instead of the person's channel. And it's annoying. So don't be that guy, once again, and don't put your annotations, ever put your annotations at the very top. Okay, you'll want to put them, the sweet spot is between here, about, you know, probably, was that 100 pixels? I don't know, about, yeah, centimeter or so down. And then as far as the bottom's concerned, don't ever put them beyond this rectangle. Those are the no zones, okay? All right, hopefully that covers those two little bits. The third thing is the actual length of annotations. Now, there's a lot of debate about annotations being a certain length, where you should place them. Should they be throughout the whole video? Should they just be at the middle, the end? How long should they last? I mean, I could go on and on. So it really just depends, and it really comes down to your particular content in general. Okay, so this video in and of itself is just a video of me talking, right? I'm telling the audience, hey, you should do this, this, and this to increase website traffic, and also, you know, YouTube tips and tricks. It's about a 2-minute video, and it's quick. It's shortly, quickly digestible content, which means that it doesn't need annotations. If it's a 10-minute long video, then maybe we could talk about putting them in, for a few seconds here and there. But because it's so short, and the way I start this video, I'm engaging from the start. So by putting an annotation in here, I'm only going to be annoying my audience, and that's the ultimate goal of what not to do, is to not annoy your audience, right? You don't want to annoy your audience, because if you do, then they're going to leave your video, and then you get a bounce, and then suddenly YouTube doesn't like your video, and they never rank it. Okay, so just a general rule of thumb. What I would suggest doing is looking at the content you've created. This video, for example, is a great video in and of itself. I've burned in or baked in text already. That was in my editing. And I would highly advise to do that beforehand, before using the annotations, because people by default, people that have annotations on, tend to find those kind of annoying sometimes if they're used improperly. And again, it's because nobody knows how to use them these days. It's been a lot of trial and error. Now, again, as I'm scrolling through this video and as I'm watching it, notice how the annotation comes in right about here. Another rule of thumb is if the annotation's out of the way, if the annotation is relevant to what's happening in the actual video and it's out of the way, then and only then should you put the annotation in, right? So if I'm talking a bit about, okay, for example, if you're on youtube.com and in this video, you notice how these are popping up and it's really annoying. In this video, I say something about, no, let's say I say something about YouTube. Yeah, so then I could pop this little guy up and I could say, YouTube owned by Google. Little known fact. Right, so it's relevant because it's going with what I'm saying. I'm actually showcasing and adding value to the current situation on screen, right? And as far as me keeping that little bubble up, it only needs to last for as long as I'm on that topic. Okay, I don't know if you guys, what generation you guys, you're probably the generation I'm thinking of with VH1's pop-up video, and I don't know if, just so you guys know, it's basically it was music videos on TV that as the music video happened, they'd have these little pop-up boxes, and they would actually say little facts about the artist or some little known hints about what happened or how they did when they went on tour, or whatever. It's really cool to watch, and I miss that show dearly. But this is kind of the same concept. If you're using annotations and you're talking about some sort of informative information for whatever niche, then you'd want to use notes to further explain that content, right? Hopefully that makes sense. Think of it just as pop-up video from VH1. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, then just know that annotations are really beneficial, I guess. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully I didn't confuse you with the terrible metaphors. But ultimately, what I'm getting at here is annotations can be used beautifully, and they can also be used really annoyingly. And if you watch right now, you see how it's getting really, really annoying to see all these boxes around my face, right? So use them sparingly. I would suggest using, especially in the middle of the video, using only 1 or 2 at the most in the middle of the video, right? When you're trying to pinpoint something, you're trying to expand upon an idea, only use up to 2. And by that I mean 1 being the initial one on the screen, like the note, and the second one would be the one on the corner-ish that would be, it would say something like subscribe or click here for more or click to go to the next or the previous video or whatever. Okay, yeah, this stuff can be a little complex. This stuff can be a little dry, I know, but thanks for sticking with me, guys, so far. Okay, any other questions here so far about annotations? We've gone over notes, we've gone over the spotlight and label, the difference between the two, the speech bubble, which honestly I never use, but if you want to get kind of cartoony with it, it is a lot of fun to work with. It kind of you can go Charlie Chaplin on it and make it a silent film or whatever. But ultimately, it's a great little tool to have, just for fun. Now, something kind of annoying with annotations and something that YouTube, I don't know. I as an editor myself, I just find this really annoying, and you probably do too. When I click on an actual annotation and I want to get rid of it, a lot of times what I've done is I've hit the delete key on my keyboard. Don't do that, because what that actually does is it takes you back a page. And if you haven't saved your annotations or they haven't been auto-saved yet, then you're going to lose your annotations. I have done this countless amount of times, and I'm just warning you, I'm forewarning you not to do that. All right, so here's how you actually delete an annotation if you don't want one. Okay, I don't want this speech bubble here, so I'm just going to click on it, which will take me to the annotation down on the bottom. Make sure that it's selected by seeing the red lines on either side, and then go up to the right and click on the little trash can. Boom, gone. That easy. All right, don't hit the delete key. I know as an editor, you might have that intuition to do that. Don't, because I swear you will probably regret it. Okay, anyway, those are annotations, guys. I hope that's kind of given you a little bit of an opening to why they're important. Again, they're important because they allow you to put information on the screen that you can't fit in, you couldn't fit into the video, for instance, or maybe you want to expand upon something. And then lastly, of course, they allow you to take your traffic from your videos and put them and place them over to your website, to your Google your Google profile page, your playlist, and so forth. All right, and we notice we have merch as well. Some YouTube channels that have over, I think, 1,000 subscribers have the ability to add merchandise to their YouTube platform, to their YouTube account. So I could actually, if I was selling t-shirts, I could actually have somebody go to my t-shirt page directly through YouTube so they can buy t-shirts about whatever channel that I, am advertising, which is cool. I don't do that, but the one that you want to look at in regards to our particular topic is the associated website. And again, just a quick, user tip: if you just start typing in a domain down here, it will automatically fill that out for you. It'll say, okay, he just typed in a domain, so that means I'm going to select the associated website. Okay, cool. All right, guys, a couple of other things I wanted to go over real quick before we close out here. The first is just to reiterate, make sure you save and publish your annotations, otherwise they will not save. Don't hit the delete key if you want to delete an annotation. Always hit the trash can, boom. Click on, one of my favorite things to do is to click on the actual annotation down here in the timeline and then delete. Okay, I'm going to delete all these because they actually aren't relevant. And finally, when you're all set and done, what I would suggest doing is clicking on the actual link at the top, which is the name of your video. It'll take you to the YouTube page itself, and you'll be able to see the annotations the way that a viewer would see them. Okay, and seeing them like this, you're able to gauge, okay, are they annoying? Are they not annoying? Are they there for too long? Are they there too soon? You're able to really gauge how that works out in real time. Okay. Now, notice how you're seeing a few other things like the subscribe button up here, and you just saw a little ad pop up in the left a little earlier. These are beyond annotations. Those actually aren't found in the annotation platform. It's in another option inside of YouTube, which we'll have to go over some other time because we're running out of time at the moment. So yeah, but just know that there are other options to overlay things on your screen beyond annotations. But the most powerful tool that I can advise to give you is the annotation itself, because it does, again, get that individual, get that viewer moving. It gets them engaged. It gets them to your website, so you can then interact with them even more, and you can create and succeed into whatever conversion goal or action that you want to make them do. Okay, so that is the power of annotations. That is how awesome they are, and that is why they're important to your business. And with that, I think I'm coming to a close here, guys. I don't see any questions right now, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. First, I'm going to pause this video. And I'm just going to let you guys know, too, for those of you who are watching right now, and I'm going to switch my screen over here just a moment. So for those of you watching, I need to let you guys know something very cool that is happening shortly, coming soon. And that is that the Content Creators Lounge, which is the membership platform that I work for, we are hosting a very special event with a man named Miguel Hernandez, and he has agreed to do a special webinar with myself. And this is happening on November 25th at 6 p.m. Pacific and 9 p.m. Eastern. But ultimately, this is going to be a really great event with Miguel Hernandez. He's really big on udemy.com. He kind of piloted the whole Udemy teaching people online platform, udemy.com, and now he also runs Grumo.tv, and it's basically, Grumo Media is a company that does amazing animation videos. He's worked with clients like Google, he's worked with clients like Ashton Kutcher, the movie star, and a bunch of other really, really big and motivational people, and he's done some really great work. So very impressed with him, very excited to be interviewing him and getting a few tips about how he does what he does and how you can create awesome demo videos for your business in under 30 minutes. It's pretty sweet. So Miguel, if you're watching, man, again, I can't wait to jump on camera with you and get a little bit of your mind and our mind and put them together and see what we can come up with. All right, Miguel. And all right, guys, I really appreciate you watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. Oh, wait a second. Please feel free to email me at the John at the Content Creators Lounge, and I am going to get that on screen so you can see it. Sorry, guys, I have so much happening here. Oh, damn it. Okay. Anyway, you guys get it. So, John at contentcreatorslounge.com. I am available for you whenever you'd like. Please shoot me an email if you have any questions or have any sort of suggestions or recommendations for getting the platform together. For those of you who are not a part of the Content Creators Lounge, go check it out, contentcreatorslounge.com. We are an exclusive membership that allows you to learn about the latest and greatest in video marketing and how to create great videos for your business. All right, guys, have a great Thursday evening or afternoon or morning, depending on where you are, and I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks.